I saw a couple of comments from people genuinely finding it difficult to complete this quest, where essentially you can pick off the enemies one by one. So something has to be wrong, possibly with your team comp or character builds. So I thought let's make a quick video to go over some basics. Now, you might be wondering, aren't there like 100 of these already on YouTube? Yeah, but for some reason you're watching this, so buckle up. Genshin Impact is a team game, which means you use various characters and alternate between 4 at a time to fight enemies. You don't just use this dude. And after playing Genshin for about 30 minutes, you'll get Zack, Outcasted Amber, Ice Boy, and this very suspicious librarian. But of course, you won't play with just these 4, because you'll obtain other characters from wishing for them or other means like events or Spiral Abyss. This is where building a party becomes important. How do you choose 4 characters and build a party that functions and does the most damage it can possibly do to beat whatever enemies are there in your missions? First, you've got to have a main DPS, that stands for damage per second. And this character, also called your carry, has to be someone who does good damage every second they're on the field. Of course, some characters are better than others at it, but without going into the intricacies of what makes a great DPS, I'll just recommend you pick a melee character unless it's Ganyu. If you have Ganyu, pick Ganyu, who you find fun to play. And make sure they are the only character you are actually auto-attacking with. That's this. And of course, they should be having the most attack percentage, and 90% of all your resources should go into this character. From leveling up their talents to upgrading their artifacts or weapons, most of your resources need to go to this character. From this set, I can just take Kaya, and in your position 2, you want a sub DPS. This should be someone who can do good damage off the field, or who can output great damage in a short amount of time, and then you switch back to your main. This can be someone like Shangling with her Goba, or Beidou, or even Lisa official, who can do damage while not actually on the field. This is important to have to just increase your DPS and also cause elemental reactions. Next, you need a healer. You get Barbara for free, so she's a great pick for any brand new players. But characters like Bennett and Diona are great as well. These characters will be crucial in keeping you alive, and they're pretty straightforward. Use the healing ability and get back to fighting. In your position 4, it's good to have an Animo character, since they apply elemental statuses like this to a group of enemies, so you can get some good reaction damage. The Traveler is fine for a start, but if you get someone like Sucrose, Venti or Kazuha, you're set in that field. This can even be a shield character like Noelle or Diona if you want. That will keep your defense up, and it's really up to you who you want in your position 4 and how you play it. And that's a basic party structure and the logic to fit whatever character you want into it. Now, don't take this as the sacred text of making a party in Genshin. It's just a recommendation to new players to structure their party in a way where every member is actually used and has a purpose to either keep you alive or boost your damage. And hopefully after watching this, if anyone was upgrading all 4 of their characters at the same time, maybe you'll use your resource a little more different and maybe structure it like this. I don't know. Now the next thing to consider are your artifacts. This can be a very complicated part of Genshin for some, and rightly so. Each artifact has a rarity, green, blue, purple or gold. Then each belongs to a certain set, which when combined give different effects. Then each has a main stat, as well as 4 possible substats, which may increase in various ways once you upgrade. It's a whole mess. Instead of putting a detailed artifact guide, which you can find for any character with a simple YouTube search, I'm just going to say don't overthink it. You don't need perfect artifacts to beat any part of the game. Everything can be cleared if you get yourself some decent ones and use your resources and team reasonably. What you should remember is to pick artifacts that fit your role. If you have someone like Kaya, who is your main DPS, his role is to do damage. There's no point in making him have a huge amount of HP and giving him an artifact with HP as a main stat. He needs attack or crit damage or crit rate. If he dies too easily, that's up to you to buff up your healer, who actually needs HP main stats, and have them play their role properly. Or if you use someone like Bennett, who really needs his Q up soon, his ultimate ability, getting him some energy recharge may be good for this role. Someone like Beidou, if you're mainly using her to drop her E and then switch back to your main, a set like Gamblers may be useful for her, which increases elemental skill damage. Further, since the only damage she does in that instance is electro damage, you might want an electro damage bonus on her. So keeping that logic in mind, while also remembering that rarer artifacts give better stats, you can give yourself some pretty decent artifacts and do good damage, even if you can't remember all the math and relevant substats to have perfect artifacts. And lastly, upgrade. Like I said before, 90% of your resources should go to your main DPS and beefing them up. This means upgrading their level using these materials, upgrading their artifacts when you figure out what suits you best, and upgrading their talents. Remember, only upgrade talents you actually use. So when you use the other 10% of your resources on, let's say, your healer or your sub DPS, don't level up their auto attack, because that's not where their use comes from. Level up whichever of these talents you actually use. And that's pretty much it. If you follow this logic and use your characters fully, I'm sure this quest or any others won't be too challenging.